Hello lovelies, this is Chrissy cooking at home. I am Chrissy. Are you shocked? Surprised? I almost tried to say shocked and surprised is the same word. Don't be too surprised, it's in the name. This is a canning video. It might be a quick one. I've already got things rolling. If you're new to canning, go to the National Center for Home Food Preservation, read up on your stuff. But some people need visual learning as well as reading, but please read. Don't take my word for everything. Read their stuff. That's there for a reason. It's the guidelines for canning. I am canning black beans today. I had a pound of them given to me. Hopefully they're a good quality bean. We'll find out. So go to the canning for beans, read up on how to pressure can them. That's what we're doing. You pressure can beans. They can for the same as meats. So learn your times. No guesswork here, people. I am doing pints. So I have my pints sitting in hot water because we're doing the beans are over here boiling. I have my canner with the water in it heating up. It's at a simmer right now. Ignore the pot to the back. That is for jelly later. Different video. So there's 14 minutes left on it. If you read what the National Center for Home Food Preservation says, you are to soak your beans, and then they also have instructions for a quick soak. I did the long soak, the overnight, and then after you do that, you then boil your beans for 30 minutes. You bring it to a boil, set your timer, 30 minutes, and then I'm going to show you the step-by-step, okay? According to the National Center for Home Food Preservation. That's important. Let's get going. Okay, I believe I have everything ready. I have something on my counter so that way warm jars are not sitting on a cold counter. We don't want shock to happen. That's how we can get broken jars when we're canning. And then you lose a jar and you lose your food, you lose your lid, money down the drain, and that's not the point of canning. We're trying to save money. This is a slotted spoon to help me get beans out, and then I fill with liquid. I have my canning ladle. I love this one. It has a little hook to hook on the pot. I have a smaller ladle in case I overfill. This is not metal. I'm forever to find one. I have a half a teaspoon because I'm going to put salt in. Canning tongs. My measure. Canning funnel. My one chopstick that I use to help debubble. Now this is, if you've ever seen any of my other videos, Witch's Grade Poison is just kosher salt. You don't want to use table salt, okay people? That's a no-no, no. I have vinegar and pieces of paper towel. I have my lids back here ready to go, and then I have my rings right here ready to go. Jars are behind me in the sink. There's the timer, turning off my pot, the heat on my pot. There we go. Black beans. With the skins falling off. That's okay. Still gonna label them black beans even if they don't turn out so black. So they only boiled for 30 minutes. You know they're not fully cooked, they're par cooked. Because you know dry beans take longer than 30 minutes to cook. But when you pressure can for 75 minutes, oh, they're gonna be nice and tender, baby. So I don't know how many pints we're gonna get out of just a pound. So let's find out together. Because usually I can way more than a pound when I do this. Jar. Funnel. Slotted spoon. Allergy season. I get constant frogs in my throat. even though I take a butt ton of allergy meds. We want 1 inch headspace. I go below that with the beans. But I hit that with the liquid. I forgot to put my salt in. So here's what I'm going to do. I did not hit 1 inch headspace. Kosher salt in. Now since this was boiling liquid, this jar is uber super freaking hot. More hot than in the water. We're going to debubble. How much can you see, lovelies? Debubble, 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 debubble. Settle them beans. It'll help mix the salt around anyways. And it's going to get even more mixed around when you pressure can it. We are definitely not at 1 inch headspace. I'm going to try to work around you. And I went over. This is a little lopsided. I went over just a touch. Now we're perfect. So then I'm going to take one of my pieces of paper towel, lightly dip it in the vinegar, go over the rim really well. This will be my triple check for chips and nicks, because that'll prevent your jars from sealing, and we want the jars to seal so we can have these on the shelf for a long time. I believe it's a year to 18 months before you start losing nutrition. But mine never lasts that long. Fingertip tight. Okay, into the canner. And down you went. I'm not even sure what you're looking at right now. You're okay. I'm sorry you went down. I stepped on you when I went to go around you to put the beans in the canner. Okay. First things first. Just put the salt in first. Okay. Keep knocking into you. Okay. Might only get like 3 jars. But, you know, 3 jars of beans on my shelf is better than no jars of beans on my shelf. I feel like the fan behind me, the exhaust fan, is a little loud. So I'm going to turn that off and maybe you can hear me better. It's worth it to me to can these beans because I'm working on recipes. I'm just going to go get, on payday, I'm just going to go get more beans and can them. That's how I feel about that. My ladle off. There we go. Get the cooking liquid. bubble, de 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 bubble. You just want to bubble really good. Ooh, that jar's heating up my fingers. Ooh. Should have grabbed the pot holder. It's pretty close to an inch. Yeah, we're pretty flipping close. So I'm gonna grab my little ladle. And that was perfect. You gotta follow a process. Because it comes down to a science, and that's what the National Center for Home Food Preservation done, is they've done studies and testing, because it comes down to science to make canning safer for people, to give us guidelines for safer canning. Is this how my elders did it? No. Is this how I'm doing it? Yes. Step in around you. I warmed up so many jars. I was just delusional on how much a pound of beans would get me. I have a ton of navy beans to can and some pinto beans. Pinto beans are for a different project though. Maybe 3.5 jars. Maybe 4. And that's 4 more jars on my shelf that I did not have before. Oops. I forgot salt. What is up with me? I know what's up with me. I threw my back out the other day and it's still sensitive. So it throws off my focus. So I'm trying very hard to make sure that I read the directions a million times to make sure I'm doing it correctly. It's so important to do correctly. Now, you can debubble with a chopstick, right? But this is also a debubbler. You can get in there with this and get them beans moved around. Get them air bubbles out. That is so crucial. I just really like my chopstick. That's perfect. I'm going to get a clean paper towel. You can also use, if you don't want to do paper towels, you can also use a clean cotton cloth dipped in vinegar. Just make sure you wipe your rims to get any kind of debris off. You hear little Miss Nellie? There's 3 jars. Some people, it's not worth canning if it's not a full canner load. And sometimes for me, it's not either. But I really wanted to get these beans canned up for some projects. Hot, hot, hot. Alright, I'm going to scoot you back a little because we got to kind of scoop these, what's left in here. We might get a 4th jar. That would be close. So these beans were free to me. So I'm getting them on my shelf because that is way more cost effective than $1 a can. So instead of spending $4, I'm just spending my time and the lids and a little bit of salt, which I just forgot to put in this jar again. And we got a 4th jar, people. I'm not going to get any more beans out of there. And we got a 4th jar. Remember, we want a 1-inch headspace. Almost a 1-inch headspace. I don't know, I just really like my chopstick. This came with a wok about 15 years ago. I don't have that wok anymore. It's just turned, eventually everything just started sticking to it no matter what the heck I did. It was a really cheap wok. I don't remember where I got it, but it was cheap. So it just ended up in the garbage eventually. Did I put salt in? This might be some really salty beans. We're going to close the salt. We're going to put it away. But I ended up keeping the chopsticks, and then one of them ended up going missing. So I have the one left. And I use it for my canning. Logan uses it for some of his cooking. Little Mr. 13-year-old Logan. I wish I had some ideas to do something with the bean water. That would be pretty cool. Not that I'm all about using every little thing, but I don't know. I was just in here thinking, what could I do with the bean water? The water that the beans were cooked in. No idea. What would I do with black bean water? Do you guys know anything? Seriously, if you know anything, just drop it in the comments. Like, what to do with bean water? Is it good to put in the garden? Like, seriously. What to do with it? Does it make a good broth? Like, because you rinse your beans when you open the jar or a can. So you don't keep that. But this is just water. Okay, so there's my 4 pints of beans. That only cost me the lid. I'm not sure what the... I think it's like 20 cents a lid or something. So there's... Beans cost me 40, 80 cents. See how I put on my lid. This is a post January 1983. Oh, it's being stubborn. BRB. There it goes. I heard a canner say that I heard a serious canner and experienced canner say that every canner they have has a different personality. And boy, is that freaking true. Every canner I have has a different personality. I have two. I have a pre-January 1983 Miromatic, and this is my post-January 1983 Miromatic. I'm going to turn the heat down from high to just above medium. I'm going to bring it up to steam. I'm going to bring it up to steam and let it vent for 10 minutes. It needs to be a full-blown steam engine whistle blowing steam, like serious going vent. It's got to vacuum out that, it's got to steam out that it's got to steam for 10 minutes. It's got to vent for 10 minutes. That's very, very, very important for safe canning. So after that 10 minutes, then you put on your jiggler, your weight. I'll show you mine. It's the same for both my Miromatics. See the 10, there's a 5, and there's a 15. It's not wanting to focus on this, it wants to focus on me. The 15's over here, so I will put it this side down so the 15 goes on this in the center. And then I wait for this to jiggle violently, and then after it's jiggling violently, I put this on. I turn the heat down just a skosh more. That's what I've learned about my Miromatics, my old Miromatics. These are older models. And then I wait for it. I let it, when it's jiggling, I let it jiggle just a little bit, not too violently, for the time. That's the set time for what I'm cooking, or not cooking, what I'm canning. So I'm very happy I got 4 pints out of my free bag of beans. So now I can clean up and get ready to do my next canning project. I have 3 going today, but I will bring you back for the beans when they come out in a few hours. Yes, hours. Now, I just went to the National Center for Home Food Preservation to double check my numbers. Now, I have a weighted gauge for my pressure canner, so I checked. You got to check your altitude for your pressure, and because I'm above 1,000 feet, it will be 15 pounds of pressure. You're going to hear Nellie giggling. She's watching her favorite show while eating breakfast. So 15 pounds of pressure, but it doesn't matter your pressure when it comes to time. I mean, your pressure matters. Don't get me wrong. Do the correct pressure for your address. Type in your address. They'll help you. They have a link to type in your address. Click on the link, type in your address, not your town, your actual physical address for your altitude. Then go by your altitude for your pressure, whether it be a weighted gauge or the other one. You go by that. And then the time is the same for everybody, whether you're doing pints or quarts, and I'm doing pints, so it's 75 minutes. That's important. Now, you need to learn how to do pressure canning first and foremost, and they have the guide that you can read to learn if you bought a used canner. If you bought a new canner, it will explain to you in the manual. You can learn that way. You can buy books. You can buy books from the National Center for Home Food Preservation. Also, there are experienced canners on YouTube, master canners as well. You might have master canners in your area. So we'll go through all that. We have 3 minutes left. Let's get you in position. Okay, my canner has finished its processing time and it has depressurized. I took off my weight. It's hot, so I just used the towel and took it off. We're gonna open the canner. Just gonna let it do this for a minute. Now, behind me on my island, I have a bath towel folded where I'm going to be putting all my jars. And that's where I'm going to put these because they're what I'm canning. Because you don't want to put them on any cold surface. You want them protected or you're going to have thermal shock, and that's how you're going to break a jar. Okay. 4 pints of black beans. There you go. So, success. Yay. Till next time.